Hey there, guys. Brendan and Trey here with Team Top Cut. Say hi, Trey.
Hi, Trey.
We are coming to you with the Edison series. Basically, what it's going to be is Trey and I will be reviewing some of his Edison matches because he has an Edison locals every Friday night, and we're going to be going through the games, kind of breaking down what's going on, discussing certain plays that get made, misplays that might be occurring. Sort of taking a moment at certain points or conjectures to pause and discuss, like, hey, was this the correct decision line? Um, just sort of giving everybody a really good in-depth breakdown of the match. Hopefully, people can get a little bit out of that, or could help further some discussion. Like if it comes to a point where it's like, oh, Thought Ruler over Stardust Dragon, maybe that leads to a little bit of a debate in the comments about whether or not one was right over the other. Do you have anything that you want to say before we get started?
No, let's get into it.
Perfect. They wait. They
So
used
it was
two
yes, it was
D20s.
funny. We actually used two D20s and we rolled the same number. Like I believe we actually we had to roll again because like the point of rolling two D20s was to make sure that we wouldn't have to roll again, uh, but we did.
I've actually never seen that before. See, but I've been going through this issue where I keep having to re-roll with my opponents at locals. Like we'll draw the first one or two times and then have to go again, to the point where I've actually changed dice because it kept happening so much.
hmm
Okay, so you set one there.
So
What was that set?
I think it. I'm not sure. I think it was a bottomless, and I think the thing is, I should have known like beforehand that he was on frogs because I watched him like sleeve up substitutes. So that probably wasn't the right play to start with set bottomless. Um,
Yeah, but
but
here, I mean,
Whirlwind,
you're about to go crazy. Like you just got confirmed that everything's safe. And did you have the whirlwind in hand turn one, or did you wait?
yeah. Well, I believe I had Whirlwind in hand, but I didn't have like I think I had the Sirocco, and so it was just kind of like okay, well, can't do anything now, but we'll save it for after. So here I was kind of thinking like, okay, do I go for like Gale to try to protect myself with like a Stardust, or do I try to go for like Dark End to get rid of his set, or do I go for because I think I drew into Bora is what happened. So I think I have Bora in hand as well. Yeah.
Yep. Oh yeah, no. This turn, this is going to be gorgeous because what's going to happen is you're going to use Sirocco, pump up the Bora by an additional. What is that? That's 33. So it's a what?
But it's a 5K
5K
Bora.
Bora. Make Stardust in
Yeah, so
case
he
it's
takes
Raiko.
yep.
Yeah.
So he
So
takes 49 there. Yeah.
that's massive. That's massive.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes Blackwings just draws crazy.
And
I think
so,
we flipped the life point counter around just because right now, obviously, it's upside down in the video.
gotcha.
Um,
So just real quick, let's explain. Let's pause this. Let's explain why you made Stardust there.
um, I mean, yeah, it could have been either Raiko or like Snowman Eater. I mean, yeah, obviously, I don't know what the set monster is. Um, I guess I should be expecting that I'm playing against frogs, but even how I expect I'm playing against frogs, I think Stardust is fine. There's maybe some merit at least to potentially going for Thought Ruler against frogs. I know they play a lot of like discard traps that target and uh, brain control, enemy controller, those types of cards that Thought Ruler can counter. But Stardust. I did set a back row early, and I do have the whirlwind, so Stardust protects those from like heavy storm MST. So I think Stardust is fine, even if I do expect that I'm against frogs. Um,
I mean,
and
this.
some frog decks will have a main deck Snowman Eater. So uh, like if it's like a hero frog,
Mm,
some of them will just play that. So I think making Stardust beforehand, like if you were going to make Stardust anyway, it just makes sense to go for it before you attack rather than after.
of course, of course.
Yeah.
And like you said, the added benefit of you've just set up basically what is the Blackwing God board. Like you just did a ton of damage. You've got Whirlwind up, and the only thing that's gonna sort of put a damper on the parade or whatever that term is if they have like a heavy storm to knock out your back row and your Whirlwind. The only concern would be if you knew that this was. Let me ask you this: if you knew that this was frogs, right?
Mhm.
Would you like? You'd probably assume that that's a Treeborn or something similar to it. Would
Well,
you
it could
still
just as
summon?
easily be a dupe.
Of course, but it would you basically be like, okay, well, I know this is frogs. That's probably a Treeborn. I don't want to lose my Stardust to Caius. Would you still make the Stardust play, or I mean, because you said that you have
Well,
bottomless set.
so my current board, well, there goes the Stardust.
Mm-hmm.
Currently, I'm not on Cyber Dragon in the side, so I do have a second. Uh, what's it called? Second Stardust in the extra. So losing the first one isn't the end of the world. I think the other thing is if he does go Caius, I can chain bottomless and then I can chain Stardust
Oh,
if
that's
he doesn't
true.
have a chain.
That's
Yeah.
true.
So yeah, you can protect your Stardust that way. So
Depends on what he targets.
well, not really, because he's always targeting Stardust either with Ryza or Caius, and so you just go bottomless Chainlink 2,
Hmm.
um, and then Stardust Chainlink 3, negate your own bottomless,
Well,
and
if he
then
targets the
Stardust will just come
Whirlwind,
back
I don't know why you
with
would, but
like
if he targets the Whirlwind with Caius, do you just say, yeah, that's fine, and then flip the bottomless and be like, nice try, I guess.
um maybe I guess that could be lethal. Yeah.
Oh, it wasn't even
Oh, it was a
bottomless; it was
Duster,
Duster. Oh, see,
which I
okay,
think
all
is
right. Yep. So that's smart, right? Because what that does is that protects your Whirlwind. So you set the Duster turn one. We actually talked about this where you made the mistake of not doing that
yeah.
at an earlier event, and so you ended up playing into the Duster, no, the Dust Tornado with your Whirlwind. Here you learned your lesson and you've set up correctly, and now you're playing against the dupe lock, but with a much better
So I
field
think my
advantage.
base downs right now, I believe, are yeah. So it's Dust Shoot, and I think the other two are Torrential and Mirror Force. So obviously he doesn't have much to do right now. What were his two cards again? It was Treeborn, MST, something else. Was it
Well, that's
Trapstun?
the good thing was we can go back and look. It looks like this.
Well,
Yeah, so
when I Dust Shoot him, scoot forward a little more.
well, so the set was Trap Stun that you hit with Dust Tornado, right? You're about to set four here,
Right, but when I Dust Shoot him, what are the
or
cards?
set three.
Yeah. Okay, so I Dust Shoot
Well,
him in his draw phase here.
so let's actually pause here real quick before we get to the dust shoot. You've now set three cards after turn one, only setting one. Yeah, I
Well,
mean,
now I have a
obviously we know
Stardust.
why. We know why for two reasons, but go ahead and explain it just for the people in the audience.
I mean, yeah, now I have a Stardust to protect the back row. Also, he's already used Heavy Storm, so it's like,
Exactly.
yeah, there's just nothing. That's really the only punish. So at this point, it's just okay. We'll just set everything because I don't know what card I'm going to need to use at any particular time. We'll just set everything. It's fine.
And obviously, a big proponent of the Edison format is being safe and smart with your resources. All right.
Yeah, of
So
course.
now we get to Dust Shoot. So for Dust Shoot, his hand is Trap Stun, MST, another Treeborn, and Substitute. So
Yeah,
obviously,
so Substitute is the clear take here, but obviously neither of them really matter at this particular juncture. I think I'm pretty much just waiting for an Icarus attack so that I can make the dupes miss timing. Um, so yeah,
I'm wondering why he heavy stormed because like there wasn't any point to it. He knows the Stardust is on field.
um, yeah, I think that definitely was a misplay probably
If he
because he
had
should
the
probably
MST, he probably should have gone MST target the Whirlwind. Then you obviously Stardust. Then he goes heavy storm and blows up both of those. But I guess he would have needed to have the MST in hand already.
yeah he may have drawn that for turn. I'm not sure, but even then it's like yeah, no reason to just give Stardust a free negate. Especially if you're not going to like capitalize on it. So, um, so he decides to bring the Treeborn back, which I guess is fine. Um, it might be better to just leave it in the graveyard, though, to be honest, because if one of my set cards is Icarus, he can get punished by Chain Icarus and blow up the Duke block. And then when I summon Shura, I now have a target to swing over.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, so it was MST was the other set. Um, I I think popping the MST is fine there. Like
I
it's
agree.
not going to get a ton of value against the Frog deck. So just um,
It also like
yeah.
there might be a point in time where they're able to use the MST to bait out the Stardust.
Mhm. Okay, so brain control the Duke Frog. That's pretty darn good. Um, yeah, so I just go ahead and swing over his board. Stardust over the Duke Frog. He gets to search for swap. Bora is going to swing over the Treeborn, and can't remember if I. But yeah, this was definitely probably a mistake on his part to summon the Treeborn, because if I do have a Shura, Shura can summon the Bayou, and then I can synchro his dupe like uh, with the Bayou and like Bora. Um, so yeah, I think summoning the Treeborn, especially if you're not going to convert it that turn, it just doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think he had one in grave already too, didn't he?
Yeah, well, he
Oh,
had
then
one in
yeah.
hand. Yeah, he had one in hand, and he summoned the one from grave, and it was yeah, there was no real good reason to do that, I don't think. Um, at the same time, though, I am so far ahead at this point.
It doesn't really
Uh,
matter, yeah. And I guess also he doesn't know that you have the brain con.
yeah, so he scoops it up here.
Yeah, of course.
Obviously, I shooted him, so
At this point, it's way too much value. Like you have full knowledge outside of like exactly what he drew for turn, and
so
you're
the
up so
interesting thing
massively.
here, you'll see my siding pattern here. The interesting thing was I brought in um, crows, rugs, and fossil dinos. I know not everybody is on the crow is a good card against frogs train, but especially against the new Dream Frog version, that one plays like 3 Pot of Avarice and Fishboard Blaster. There's like some really good crow targets there. Uh, but the interesting thing about that version that I is it doesn't play any of the monarchs. So like, or if it does, it's like a very small amount. So Swap Frog is kind of the only rug target, which makes rug not actually a good card into the deck. Uh, whereas rug, against the monarchs is obviously crazy. Um, negate the normal summon effect. Um, so when you're playing against frogs from now on, especially as the meta shifts, it's like rug is no longer a guaranteed I'm siding it in every time I see frog cards, because you'll see later he's on a very like frog combo pile, um, and so I end up looking at it and it's like, oh, these rugs are useless. Much better should have been like deck Debbie or something like that. Um, so
Yeah, fair enough. I
I'll
mean,
pick it up.
I'm actually not familiar with the Dream Frog version that you're talking about. I've yet to see that. All the
So
experiences that
it
I have
plays
against the
like
deck are the Monarch build.
yeah, it plays like Moray of Greed, Salvage, and I think it does play Future Fusion still, and Miracle Fusion, but it only plays like Ocean as its target. Um, and yeah, essentially the idea is like you, yeah, you just turbo through your whole deck with like Substitute. Um, I can't remember if this is the match where he Future Fusions and then it's like an illegal target. Um, because he tries to go for Gaia here, and I'm assuming he's going to try to send like Dandelion.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, but
Wait a minute.
I think he tries to go for Ocean to send, so an elemental hero and an Earth, but that doesn't work because I believe his hand contains 2 copies of Ocean, or maybe he sided one out and then realized, oh yeah, that was probably not smart. So yeah, this he realized that was a illegal activation.
Oh.
Yeah, so
Oh.
yeah, pretty rough to be playing the combo frog stuff, and then but yeah, this is why you do need there's certain garnet ratios. I mean, this is the whole argument with Vayu too about whether or not you play one or two in Blackwings. Is you know, when you want something to be in the deck, it's like how badly do you want to make sure that it actually is there, and how much does it hurt to draw the extra copy? Um,
And also, how much information does your opponent get? When certain things don't work like that. Like, so for example, you made a quick throwaway line in the video, which is, oh, that tells me what's in your hand, right? Because it kind
yeah,
of does. Like the fact that he can't send anything tells you exactly what was supposed to be being sent and where it has to be in order for Future Fusion not to be resolving that way.
right. Yeah, he told me after he plays two copies of Ocean, but doesn't play like Stratos or like E-Call or anything. I don't know. I do really like the Hero Frog build. I don't know that the combo Frog makes a lot of sense to keep the hero stuff in. Maybe it's just better to just kind of ignore all of that stuff.
There's
Uh,
definitely a certain element of combo players trying to play Edison because it's a quote unquote more fair format, and then they still try to play like a modern feel style combo, and it's just not the same in Edison format.
yeah, Future Fusion. Like he wanted it as essentially an extra copy of Foolish Burial, and
Mm-hmm.
so that's kind of the justification to play the Ocean. But I don't know if you. That's like playing Gamma in Modern. It's like a 1-to-1 brick ratio. It just doesn't make a ton of sense to me.
Well,
So there's
except he's
established.
playing Ocean at 2 apparently.
Yeah, but he sided one out, so
Mm.
that was the issue. Um,
That's me with Fiendsmith and Modern.
yeah,
I'll always side out one too many copies and then draw the only copy because I'll
yep,
side out Tracked, and what I do is I side out Tracked, Lori, and Fiendsmith copies, but I'll leave one in the main because I'll side in the shifters, leave one in the main so that if I need to I can make the link to and go into the engine. Um,
so he's still able to just full frog combo here with like swap pitch the Fishborg, and then Fishborg can just reborn itself by pitching another water.
mhm.
As long as you have like I think it's a level 3 or lower water on the field. Um, so yeah, the deck just goes kind of nuts.
Well, so
I believe.
let's explain this to the uninitiated viewers of Edison format. This dupe frog lock, the dupe lock that you've now talked about a few times, what is that? Like, what is the power of the frog deck? Why is it so popular?
Well, yeah, I mean, so he's on triple dupe, which is interesting. Most frog decks are on only two, but if they're pure frogs, they'll play three. Um, so uh, if you have two dupe frogs on the field, they both say you can only attack this card. Um, I do chain Crow here to the Avarice, which I think is 100% correct. I mean, that card just says draw two.
Oh yeah,
Crow just says no, because Avarice has to shuffle all five in order to actually draw. Um, so yeah, I think the double dupe uh, lock is sort of the standard dupe lock, and then you have dupe lock, and then you have the soft dupe lock, which is currently on the board, which is Substitute in dupe frog, where dupe frog says you can only attack this card, and Substitute says your frog monsters can't be destroyed by battle. So basically, you can only attack a card that can't be destroyed by battle. There
gotcha.
are ways around it. DD Warrior Lady exists. Um, Cards that Grand Mole that exists that
Mm-hmm.
can bounce frog. But so that's why it's the soft dupe block. But the two dupe frogs on the field, it's like, I can't attack either of them because I must attack both of them.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so I believe I get punished here. I think the set is a bottomless. Oh,
It
it's a
was a
judgment. Yeah.
judgment. Oh.
No, I mean I think that's fine. Judgment. I kept Judgment in because I expected him to still be on the Monarch stuff, and I think a Judgment against Achaeus is worth.
Yeah,
Um,
typically a good trade.
it's yeah, it's essentially
Two for
a
one.
third copy of Pulling the Rug. Um, but there was no point in that combo where I think the only time where I think maybe there was an argument was if I Solemn Judgment Summon of Substitute or
That's
the Salvage. I
I,
think those
I,
are the
I
only
was
two.
gonna say the Summon of Substitute makes sense because I mean that card's just so much free value if it stays on board that
I also didn't know that he was on all of this stuff because he didn't
okay,
show everything game one. I,
gotcha.
I still kind of assumed he was on, you know.
I mean,
Also,
regardless though, Substitute's the whole deck. Like them getting Substitute and a Frog on board is literally access to everything. So wouldn't you want to keep them off of that?
I mean, maybe, but it is also 4,000 life points. That's a lot of life points, and the the sort of Dream Frog version can just still spit out monsters sometimes. So unfortunately, I didn't have a guy in the graveyard, so I pretty much just had to go normal Blizzard, special Bora. I'm kind of out of options here. I think I end up, yeah, I pitch the Sirocco, swing over the Substitute. Important to swing over the Substitute here because the Unifrog can't be destroyed by battle. Um,
Why didn't
because
you? Oh, you don't have a Vayu engrave.
yeah, yeah. This was just kind of like unfortunate. He kind of just outvalued me at this point, and I didn't really have like you saw my hand. It was Sirocco, Bora, um, and Blizzard, and
Yeah.
it's just kind of like. And I think my other two cards are probably. I mean, I'm assuming neither of them are Icarus Attack because
Mhm.
otherwise I would have just done that, like set summon Bora, set Icarus Attack. Um, but yeah, I think they're just two trap cards, probably bottomless or like rug or something like that. That it's like or oppression that I can't just set into a Unifrog, and it yeah, it's. I believe he does he kill me this turn. I know he goes for like an armory arm colossal. Um,
Yeah, because
do we want to
I
like
was actually
speed
just wondering.
up through this point?
Sure.
Um,
Well, I was
yeah,
actually just wondering. I was like, well, what is this? Because so far this deck has not done anything particularly threatening, right? Where I'm just like, oh, like it's just a bunch of tiny ass frogs. What's going on here? But yeah, I guess if they're making these big synchro boards, but like, look at this. This end board sucks. Like,
it does, but I think that the set card is probably like threatening roar or something like that. Um, you'll see my play here. I don't remember exactly what was in my hand, but I think I pretty much thought, based on what I had to just push for damage. Sucks having to pitch the Kalut, but I
mhm.
think um, I didn't know what his back row was. It could have just like, well, you'll see the rest of my plays. I think maybe I have a dad in hand at this point. It's been a while since I watched this game, um, but
Wait, you saying that you had a dad in hand?
I think so because I think I go like Blizzard, summon one from the grave, and that puts me at yeah, and that now I have three darks. Uh, oh, okay, never mind. I didn't. Uh, yeah, I think I just pushed damage here. I mean, because I didn't know what his back row was, and so there I didn't know whether to commit cards to the board. Got him down to 1,800 after I swing over the swap, um, and I guess the last card in hand, maybe it was like a Sirocco that was in my hand, and it's just like, yeah, that doesn't do anything. Um, yeah, I believe it's at this point that he goes for the colossal play. Um, yeah, this you can see the deck just has so many cards that just say go +1.
Yeah.
You know, tree bomb from the graveyard +1, salvage +1, avarice +1. Uh, you can
And then Substitute just turning all of those plus ones into literally your entire deck.
yeah,
Like Substitute turning Treeborn into every single card in your deck is crazy.
yeah,
So much value. And
and
it's
so
just a
I
bunch
mean
of
you see
frogs.
he has like 6 cards in hand, and the fact that Substitute can also manipulate the levels of everything because you have like Death Frog or what's it called, the
The
big
green
one. I
the
think
I think it is Disc Frog, isn't it? The green one?
It probably is Death Frog. So he can turn things into level 1 for Treeborn. You have Fishborg that can always. I believe the set card actually was Torrential. You saw right there. He pitched it off the Fishborg. So he attaches the Armory Arm to the Brio. He's at 1,800 life points, so it actually does get kind of close. But the Colossal Fighter OTK does just work here. So pitches for the Fishborg one more time. Tribute for the Substitoad. Get the level 1 flip flop on the field. Bring back the Fishborg, and then that's 1-5-1.
Let's go back to normal speed. Let's actually rewind a little bit here because I don't want to lose track of all of
Flip-flop,
this.
it's flip flop level 2.
Well, so let's see. Okay, all right. So we got Fishborg here. And how did we get to Fishborg? I'm sure that you see Substitoad tributing swap, right?
Fishborg summons itself from the graveyard as long as you have a level 3 or lower water on the field.
Well, so it looks like it looks like he pitched the swap to summon the Fishborg. Okay, all right.
Yep.
All right, I'm following.
Yeah, and then I believe he tributes for the Substitoad. Yeah, this water combo stuff with the Dream Frog stuff, I think it is pretty real. And it very well could just be the next best deck of the format.
He tributed Fishborg. Isn't Fishborg a tuner? I would have thought that he would have kept that.
He brings it back. I mean, it's not
once per turn. I see. Right. And he does have a ton of cards in hand. So
yeah, he has like 6 cards in hand.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. So here he makes Armory Arm because that's a level 4.
Yeah, so that's a 4. Yeah. And then attaches the Armory Arm to the Brio. So Brio is now 33. So pitches the Unifrog for the Fishborg.
Yeah.
Tribute the Fishborg. Summons Deathfrog.
If you caught that, he said sub for Fishborg, right? And it was just like a little moment of confusion. I wonder how that would have gone over in like an Ultimate Time Wizard, right? Where someone probably be like, "Oh, Judge, he declared Substitoad effect."
Yeah, it's locals. Right?
Yeah, you're being a cool guy.
Yeah,
oh, interesting. Okay, so he's summoned
level 2.
He summoned Death Frog and was that Poison Dart?
Flip flop.
Okay.
So 2 plus 5 plus 1, that makes 8. So Colossal Fighter. So Colossal Armory Arm, basically he will swing the Colossal Fighter into the Brio, and then Armory Arm deals damage to me equal to the attack of.
So this is an infinite loop, basically.
Yeah. So and then Colossal Fighter can summon himself every time he's destroyed by battle. So he takes 500, 33 minus 28, but I take 28 in the process, and I end up losing here. And I was just checking the math here, make sure that I actually do die here.
You would, yeah, because it'd have to be 28 twice. That'd be more, yeah. He was at 300 though. That's he couldn't have gotten another one of those in.
Yeah, I mean, based on my hand, I think I just had a lot of guys, and it's like, yes, it's nice to have guys in Blackwings because they are big and they can run over stuff, but they also you can only summon them, or most of them you normal summon once per turn, and especially against the Duplock, if you don't have Icarus attack or like Deck Devi, it can be kind of difficult to profitably get rid of the Duplock. Sometimes you end up having to do like Dark End a Dupe Frog and then like swing over the other one, and that's just really bad value because now they get to search twice, and you invested 2 cards into a Synchro monster, so you kind of went -1, and they just go +0 after that, and then whatever water monsters they end up adding to their hand, they can more of greet them away or special summon them with like pitching for Swap Frog,
Basically, if they brick on any of the water monsters in their deck that they don't want to have in their hand, they can just put it back with Moray.
Yep. Which is nice for Substitoad because then Substitoad can just bring him back. This deck is definitely very real. It is the most similar to like modern Yu-Gi-Oh. Uh, Blackwings is sort of the premier like Edison playstyle in the sense that you're sort of a slow grind until you can just have an explosive turn. Um, Frogs, I think, especially this version of Frogs, is very much just turbo through your whole deck.
Mm-hmm.
So shuffle, shuffle, shuffle.
Let's skip
Shuffle some
through
more.
that.
Yep.
Okay, all right. So we're
All
back.
right.
We're back to our game one strat of set one pass.
Yep. This is a pretty standard Blackwing turn one. Like if you don't open Whirlwind, there's very little reason to like put guys on the field.
That's fair. I guess if you don't have Sirocco, maybe there's an argument to summon like a Bora or something just to get some board presence out there.
I don't. I mean, like sometimes I think like I would say Shura makes more sense because you don't want your Shura to get bottomless.
That's
So
true. That's true. Yeah, I guess with Bora you could always special summon it if there's another bird on board.
yeah.
And I
So
think it is hand dependent. Like obviously if you have like a Dust Tornado or something, it's a little bit easier to justify summoning a Bora.
maybe.
Or
Or like
Icarus attack.
yeah, Icarus attack is a card. All right, so I think he's thinking here about whether or not to bounce the Swap Frog. That should at least give away that there could be more plays in his hand.
Of course.
Like he may have a Substitute in hand, and so he was thinking. But I think he would rather tribute the Treeborn with the Substitute, which is why he decided to just set one and pass. So I think the set card, we've already seen Torrential out of him. It could also just be Mirror Force.
Because this deck doesn't play much back row, does it? Like the frog stuff.
No, but it does play some, and so if you don't respect it at all, it definitely can just get you.
He just let you swing for 17 there, which means that he's probably in a comfortable enough position that he's either trying to bait more, or here we go, he's gonna Dust Tornado your set, and he hit a Deep Prison.
Yeah. So I think Deep Prison makes a lot of sense against Frogs, just because if they do go crazy and go for like a Unifrog, you don't just lose out completely because you can Deep Prison the Unifrog. And if they don't go crazy, it's especially at this point, I know he's not on Monarchs, so the Deep Prisons make more sense. Bottomlesses pretty much always come out against this version,
of course,
of the deck. I think against the Hero Frog, you'll probably keep one in, maybe two. Salvage just +1 at guys from the grave.
I will also say this. Deep Prison seems pretty good into what he just did to you game 2, right? With the Colossal Fighter Armory Arm lock.
Oh yeah.
Like the Deep Prison just saves you.
He also has so many back row wipes. He's never going to go for that play.
Well, there's a unknown set, yeah.
Yeah, there's just no reason to. Okay, so he sets up the Dupe Frog and adds the swap back to hand. Summons the flip flop. Uses flip flop to set itself, so it'll bounce things. Based on the number of frogs on the field.
Now you have an interesting hand. Do I see a Lure of Darkness?
Can't remember.
Looks like I think I saw a Brain Con and an Allure.
Brain Con's pretty good here.
Yeah, there's a Brain Con for sure. I see it. So you just drew Kalute for turn, so you have 2 Kalutes in hand. Looks like.
Did I draw Kalute or Gale?
I think I saw you draw Kalute, and I think you have 2 Kalutes.
Okay. So paid to 8.
Oh, there's the Whirlwind. Tribute summons. Oh my god, you're about to go crazy here.
This is pretty good, I hear.
Because if those last 2 cards in your hand are Kalute, you just win this, right?
Oh yeah, no, I do.
Yeah, because you just search Kalute and you just drop 3 Kalutes after Sirocco boosting Bora.
No, I just search Bora.
Summon Bora. That's true. That's true because that's 17 instead of 14. So because Kalute gives you 14 in the battle phase, but because you can just special summon the Bora for free, that's an extra 300 attack points because you know what his field is. So you're
Yeah,
getting
so this
28
was
off of
just
the
kind of
clues.
a custom hand. Dude had the duplock set up and a flip flop ready to go for next turn, and I just had like Brain Con, Black Whirlwind, Sirocco,
Oh my
plus like,
god.
oh yeah, Gale is there too.
Oh my god.
Um, yeah, no, I just had everybody, so it's like, so Sirocco before, that's important to do. Make sure while you have the Blackwings on field. So 17 plus 17 plus 33. That's 67
Yep.
is what that Bora is at. I believe Flip Flop has 500 defense. Not entirely sure. I do go ahead and Dark End. Oh yeah, obviously I have to Dark End hit the Duke
So
Frog.
you can
So that,
swing, yeah. Well, I guess
yeah.
what you could have done is also just Gale target the dupe frog to make it have 1,000 defense, and then just
Uh,
swing into that.
y- yeah, I could have, but I mean, I think that's a little less defense, and I think I was just kind of like, okay, well, I know I have game if I do it this way. So yeah, that's 67 plus 28 on the the Bora. So uh, what is the math there? Like 85. So 85 over 500, and he has 6,300 life
Yeah,
points. So
that's obscene, and that
yeah,
shows like the power of the Blackwing deck. Obviously, there are times where you just you just open like this cracked hand where they've got this board of, hey, you can't attack me, and you're like, yeah, so here's a brain con, I'm gonna break that, and then here's a ton of damage, and then you just win outright. And that is actually a 32-minute video on the dot. You don't see that very often. It's almost a well, and you basically the video started as soon as the round started. So 32-minute round. I mean, game one and game three seemed pretty quick relative to at least game two, which that kind of went on for a while. But yeah, I mean, good win. Seemed like a pretty decent match. Won't lie.
yeah. I didn't even see the Icarus to break the duplock. I don't think at any point. So
You didn't flip a single
um,
Icarus the entire match.
yeah, just didn't draw it. So even without it, sometimes you just win. Um, no, I think the takeaway from this is that the combo frog stuff is very much a real deck, and so you can't just always side in exactly the same that you've been siding against every other frog version. The hero frog and the monarch frog, you would always side in the rugs, the dynas, the crows, all of
Mm.
that stuff. Um, but now deck devi becomes much more of a consideration. Because I don't think you side the deck devi against the sort of normal frog monarch, or the hero frogs, but I think you will against this one.
Right, because it doesn't do anything against the frog monarch or the normal frogs, right? Because they'll just treeborn summon back. Anyway, here's a Caius.
It can out the duplock, which is nice, I guess. So you might side one, but outside of that, it's not going to go like crazy. Um,
Well, in that
but
case,
yeah,
wouldn't
against
you
this
rather play some other targeted hate like Smashing Ground or Fissure?
um, against the duplock, or like, what do you mean?
Yeah, well, yeah, because it doesn't target and it pops one of those cards.
Yeah, I mean, you can, but the thing is that you'll never be able to make a miss timing that way. So you probably don't want to decide that in. Deck Devi at least can make a miss timing because you can do Deck Devi as Chain Link too. Um, so it's really important to make sure those dupes miss timing. They other especially against this version that can actually like convert those cards into like advantage that can win the game. So yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, seems like you really know what you're doing. You have a lot of familiarity with the format. I'm excited to be doing more of these in the future. Yeah, so for everyone watching, basically we're going to be doing at least one of these a week where we sort of pick the best game across all of the Edison matches that he plays at his Friday locals. We're going to do some commentary over it, kind of discuss the game. And yeah, if you're looking for Edison coaching or some help with Edison, feel free to join our Discord or our MetaFi. We do offer Edison coaching services. More often than not, run by Trey here, the Edison god of Team Top Cut. So feel free to give it a look, check it out, and yeah, Thank you for joining me, Trey. Appreciate you.
Sounds good. Looking forward to the next one.